Okay, back for part 12. So I'm literally, honestly, flabbergasted. I'm like, what? How is this happening? How does this guy even know you? He was like, well, they have been praying about someone of who would take over when he retires in 3 to 5 years, and they wanted to get that person already in the bank, learning the ropes and things like that. And he had been watching me at the users meeting, and he saw this light in me and this change. And the one thing he noticed is I was no longer drinking, that I was personable and charismatic and kind and attentive. And he thought, okay, there he is. Apparently he'd been watching me the last couple of years and was just thinking, I really like that guy. And he's known him, right? Because they're a vendor. Like, they're a vendor. So they work with the banks that are local. And so he was very, very impressed with Gerald's change. And he said he saw a light in him. Ugh. It just gets me so emotional because it's like, God, you're so good. Gerald's thinking he's going to go be some pastor at a Salvation Army church, and he's just on fire for the Lord, right? And it's like, yes, we want you to stay on fire for the Lord, but we got to be, what's the word? Realistic, I guess, about things, And so I was just in awe. I'm at Walmart. I don't even remember. I remember stopping in my tracks and saying, I don't even know what I'm doing here in Walmart. Like, this is crazy. And he's like, we'd have to move to Groesbeck. They'd want us to be a part of the community, but he wants me to come in and meet. This isn't like for sure or anything. Oh gosh, I'm about to sneeze. Hold on. Woo, that was a good sneeze. Okay. He's like, we'd have to move there. They'd want us to be a part of the community. And I'm like, we'd have to move? I mean, we had literally just built our house, as you know. I think we only lived in our house like a year and a half. I don't even remember how long. It wasn't very long. And I was like, okay. He was like, let's not make any decisions right now. Let's go this weekend and look at Groesbeck. I'm like, okay, I'm excited. Maybe a change is exactly what we need. And we drive into Groesbeck, and I am very underwhelmed. I know it is just not the prettiest little town at all. I was like, what, where, what, who lives here? Not very many people. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Not very many people. I was like, oh my God, we are out in the middle of nowhere. Because mind you, I have only lived in Austin, Houston, San Antonio, and Waco. Waco's the smallest place I've ever lived. So, Groesbeck was nothing to look at. I was like, oh my gosh, God, is this where you want us? Because if it is, like, where am I even going to shop? Like, there's nothing convenient. You still got to go to Waco, which is a 40-minute drive. Small town life was not for me. Also, shout out to Officer Brewer, who when we pulled into Groesbeck, we didn't realize that the speed limit went down, and he pulled us over, and we were telling him we're fixing to come move here. His ass still gave us a ticket and said, welcome to Groesbeck. Thank you, Officer Brewer. Anyways, we do love you. We ended up really loving him, because in a small town you do form relationships with people. Anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I thought that was funny because he pulled us over, gave us a ticket, and his response was, welcome to Groesbeck. And I was like, I do not like him. That was our first impression of Groesbeck. That it was a tiny little town with nothing to it. It's not cute at all. And then we get pulled over as we're literally entering this town of like nothing. And Officer Brewer welcomes us in such a shitty way. I'm not bitter. I kind of am. Anyways, so We're driving around. I don't like the way the houses look. I don't like the way the stores look. I don't like the way the streets look. I'm telling you right now, I was judging. I was judging this town so hard. It does have a cute little downtown though. I was like, where are we going to live? Like, this is, oh my gosh, I don't know about this. But Lord, I trust you. Well, long story short, Gerald gets the job. He goes from being a data center manager, like the vendor that does all like the check processing and debit transactions and all that stuff for the bank, to going and being, I don't remember, I think he started as an assistant vice president. I'm not really sure what he started at, but he really didn't have much qualifications. He did. He knew what he was doing. He knew the product, right? So he did a lot of the operation stuff. And, oh man, that bank, those people, that town. Now, I was so bitter about going to Groesbeck. I really was. And I get emotional because I love those people. And, I thought, why have you put me here in the middle of freaking nowhere? I don't know anybody. And I'm sure everyone here is going to be all snobby and not very welcoming. And I was so wrong. Oh my gosh, was I wrong? No. I always say Groesbeck grew us, because we were coming into that town when our marriage was so fragile. And I didn't know what God had in store for us. I just didn't. And honestly, I was upset that I was in this little podunk town. So Gerald starts working at the bank, and I'm just like getting to know some of the ladies and people that work there, and our across the street neighbor, Jackie. Hi, Jackie. Shout out to you if you're listening to this. Was so kind and welcoming. Oh my gosh, sweetest person. Her kids were awesome. Our neighbors were awesome. We ended up moving into this house called the Funderburk house, and sadly the woman that had lived there had passed away from cancer, and her husband and kids were finally ready to sell it. And people were coming by to meet us because that house was just so special, and the Funderburks are such special people in Groesbeck, and we got to know them. In fact, the daughter ended up being my hairstylist there. It was just really like such a friendly town. I loved our neighborhood. I loved the women at the bank. Jerry really helped Gerald. She was, I don't remember what she did at the bank. She did everything. She's amazing. Loved on us so well. I'm getting into the details of things that people probably really don't care about. So I was still working at Allstate. So I was commuting every single day, 40 miles one way. So 80 miles a day. And my boss kept saying, you ain't going to stay with me much longer. You're going to get a job there. And I was like, no, I love this job. I don't want to leave here. That's not true. I'm not going to do that. Well, then a title company reached out because I guess someone at the bank had been like, oh, Gerald's wife is commuting in. Reach out to her. Just so sweet for people to even like think of me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I ended up leaving my boss in Allstate, and that was really hard because he took very good care of me. He was the best boss. And I really enjoyed it, but that drive was killing me every day. And so I started working at the title company, and that got me working in Groesbeck. And I really enjoyed it. I met a lot of cool people there, and it was a really great job. Now we're going to start part 12.